Well, it would appear that there's a little bit of tension currently happening with the President of the United States and Arab leadership. And I want you all to know that I have done my part to, well, help with all of that because you see, I'm a firm believer in the Oasis One project. So, for those people who don't know, I'm doing my part to try and create peace in the Middle East. Now, when I wrote that peace proposal, I handed it to the war cabinet, to Benny Gantz, to Netanyahu. I also sent people a really cool design of what I thought these peace communities would look like. And then I ran a massive letter writing campaign to promote these peace villages. What can I tell you? I was raised in the Pacific Northwest. I live in Portland, Oregon. We're all about community living. We have to try and look at things objectively. We have to try and look at things as scientists and as realists. Excuse me. Gaza is a toxic war dump, and there are roving terrorists in jeeps raping and killing and kidnapping people. So Gaza has to be cleared. This is objective reality. Put your politics aside and think in terms of, is this somewhere that you think children should be? So, in order to destroy the tunnels, in order to destroy Hamas, in order to rebuild, we must clear Gaza. We have no choice. So the people have to move temporarily. And if they are supporters of terrorism, if they are one of the houses that's sitting on top of one of those tunnels, and if they were aiding and abetting in holding hostages or raiding Israel on October 7th, or they supported that, you can't come back to Gaza because you are a threat to the safety of your fellow Gazans and to Israel. But you're a threat to everybody. You're a threat to children, single women being forced into marriage to Hamas fighters, being drug underground. This is happening to Gazan women. And since I'm a feminist, I believe in helping Palestinian women have a choice about who they marry. And that means giving people Oasis option and being free to say whether or not you support or condemn Hamas. So the purpose of Oasis is to run to a safe zone, a peace zone, away from the terrorist, away from the violence. There's a solution. Here is what I propose, just from a scientific perspective. If we're talking about opening up Oasis to Sinai, and we're currently having conflicts with Egypt, who owns Sinai, I humbly suggest, as a researcher, I am an independent researcher. My name is Dr. Whimsy Anderson. I run this comedy show here. I'm also an anthropologist. I've written dissertations on eugenics. Ignore the messenger and hear the message. I think that what may work with international law is that you may be able to rent Israel. We may be able, or even the international community, to rent space from Egypt. Egypt will continue to own the space, but it is rented by Israel and the international community to create a safe zone for Gazans who don't want to be at war with anybody. In order to make sure that the area is free of Hamas, you're going to have people go through security and disarm and everything else. That's all. And the people that are left that are Hamas, they can't stay in Gaza. You are a threat to the safety of your fellow citizens. They don't want you there. They're afraid to come out publicly because you are shooting and killing people in the streets who don't agree with you. And so the only way that this process is going to happen is if we ask Egypt, will you, I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I am an anthropologist, and I'd like to think I'm a pretty good one. I wrote the Oasis one. I'm proud of that. I'm part of a letter writing campaign to get attention for Oasis one. I know Oasis one will work because people are not born terrorists. It's environmental. It's not a genetic thing, all right? I'm not a like I said, I did my papers on eugenics. There's no gene that makes you a racist. There's no gene that makes you hate Jews or hate Arabs or hate. It's completely environmental. So we know that. Challenge my data. So what do? You create an environment free of that. Everything. How did they create terrorists? With school books, with violence, with terrorism. When you remove the cause, you remove the problem. Oasis one. But it has to be controlled, and it has to be people that genuinely want peace on both sides. So if you rent the land, if we can get Egypt to agree, what's your price? You want to haggle? Cece, it took me forever to get your email address, by the way. General Cece, much respect to you. I know it's very difficult for you to maintain security in that part of the world, but what do you say? We come up with some way. It'll be money for the Egyptian people. Maybe we could even hire local Egyptians. And what a wonderful world it could be. If we play our cards right, this first oasis in Sinai could be so beautiful and wonderful. Just as Mr. Trump said, that's true. It could be so beautiful and so wonderful. Why would anyone ever want to leave? Of course, you will be able to leave. You can go wherever you like because butterflies are free to fly, right? Once we get rid of Hamas, butterflies are free to fly away, right? This is why Someone Saved Our Life Tonight is the concert we want Elton John to perform in, right? Because we believe that people are butterflies and they're free to fly. They should be free to go wherever they like, and not be terrorized by terrorists. And I'm a feminist, and I'm not a racist, and I believe that the women of Gaza should have the same rights as the women of the United States, and that's why I support this proposal. And I don't assume that just because you were born in Gaza, you want to be treated like a second-class citizen if you're a woman. So the great thing about this type of a program is it gives people a choice. It gives people a choice. And what I had said and what I've gone on record saying is that Hamas should be asked to leave. Not the regular citizens be expelled, but those people that supported the terrorist attacks because they've been vanquished into exile, which is what happens when you do bad things to the people of Gaza and when you do bad things to the people of Israel. And Hamas has done bad things to both sides. And so what we talked about in phase two, when I had gone on record and sent my proposal as an Israeli citizen and as somebody who was collecting data, was that we should pay Hamas to leave, relocate law-abiding citizens to Oasis in Sinai, see if we can't rent the space from Egypt. If we could rent it, it's going to still be your land. And let's move on to phase three. Let's do an amazing rebuild, and let's come together to create a peaceful, beautiful world. And let's spread the tent. Let us spread the tent of Abraham, that four-cornered tent, to the four corners of the world. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my humble plea. Hopefully, I'll go ahead and send a copy of this to everybody that's part of the Abraham Accords. Thank you so much. Love and respect to all of you. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.